and it will tell us. All right, we are live. Yay,
All
wonderful.
right.
So welcome everyone. We're going to get started here in just a few seconds here.
Super fun, Susie. I'm so excited. Now, where are we?
We are on my
Streaming
page.
on you. So I'm going to look you
Yeah,
up.
so look for me.
I have you on all my stuff as Susie B.
There you go.
You are my Susie B.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. There we are. And I'm going to share that out over to
Yeah,
Soulful Living Tribe and do some of that fun stuff while we're waiting for people to come
awesome.
along.
I'm doing the same. So if you're with us already, just hang tight. We're going to get started here in a minute. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about the Divine Flow Expo.
And just divine flow in general. It's so important. It's so important to learn about what that is, and to be able to begin to align, because that's what these times that we're living in are really all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation with you, Michele.
Yeah, me too, because it's been something, it's something that's been brewing for a long time.
All right, one more place, and then we're gonna get started. Oh, if it will let me. No, that's not where I want to do it.
I know.
Technology, so much fun.
It says, don't you mean go here? No, here. No.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I want.
Yay.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to put my phone on airplane, set that down, be present with Michele, be present with you guys. Welcome, everyone. I am here today in the studio with Michele Amburgey.
Hi, guys.
I like to say it, Michele Amburgey.
Amburgey. Oui.
Amburgey. You do it much better. Michele is the founder of the Divine Flow Expo. This is something that she is birthing, and I'm excited to speak with her today, not only because I'm a speaker and a presenter in the expo, but because I'm really curious how this started and what was birthed in you that you said, I must do this.
You know what?
Yeah.
A lot of it is, Susie, because I know so many. I want to cry. I just get so emotional when I talk about this, because
I love that about you, by the way.
It's like I try not to, but it just happens.
No, cry, do it.
Oh, you opened the door. What happened is, I know so many amazing people, and in the healing field, but also just conscious people that are doing good in the world, that maybe not into the spiritual thing, or not into the woo woo or the new age or whatever terms we put around that. And yet they're very spiritual. They're very much working their passion. And I did a couple of these kind of online events with the Woken TV, and also with the Higher Life Expo. And I was like, what an awesome venue to present people to the world, is really what my view was of this. And I started thinking about what I could do by using the same kind of thing, the same online way of presenting people. And so I spoke to our wonderful event coordinator, Inara Griffin, and she said, yeah, we can totally do that. And so I put up in prayer, I just started put up, who are my people? Where do we start with? What do we do? And it was like, just everybody showed up, and Susie, you were one of them. I was like, yay, because I just love you. It's like, I just want to squeeze you and kiss you on your face. And so all these people, and so I had 20 people. It was like, I just made the list, boom, 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 spirit moving through me like crazy. And so I thought, oh, wow. So I will be so stoked if I get 6 of these people that are interested. So I send emails out and invitations, and just kind of my basic premise of I just want to highlight people that are working in their divine flow and show a lot of different ways it can work. Well, all 20 of these people said yes. And I went, "Oh, now what do I do?" And so I went back to our magical Inara and I said, "Everybody said yes." And she said, "Great, let's get to work." And so my whole intention behind this thing is to show that we're all working in some level of divine flow, no matter what we're doing, because we're spiritual beings in this human form, right? We're energy beings. We are these great, amazing beings. And I think it's time for the world to realize that divine flow, spiritual connection, conscious living, awareness, awakening, whatever word we wrap around all this, is happening everywhere. And to really inspire people to figure out either how they are working in divine flow, or maybe that they're not so much and could be more. So part of
Activate
my
them.
yes,
Love
yes,
activating.
yes. And it's just like so much want to inspire people to begin to find out where they are in their life. What are they doing? Are you in the divine flow? Are you not quite there? If you're not quite there, come and watch Divine Flow Expo and see how differently it can flow through people. And then I also do courses on helping people how to connect up with their divine flow, to find out what their passion is, what brings them joy, because that's really where divine flow is, right? If you're happy, you're in divine flow. But a lot of people don't even know about where that joy is. And so this whole event too is to inspire people to think about it. Let's get aware. What's going on? Am I really happy? Oh, you know what? Maybe not. But maybe I'm doing a job I'm not crazy with, or maybe I'm just living a life that's not really in alignment. Well, let's find out what your alignment is, and let's start taking the steps towards that alignment to bring that
Yes,
joy in, right?
please.
It's
Yes.
easy. It's easy. It's simple, but we get so overwhelmed. I did it. I've been doing it for 20 years. I've been in this intuitive, holistic, energy world as a professional healer and intuitive, but I never really felt like I was quite like clicked in. I did good, I was successful, but never quite clicked in. And it wasn't until I had these amazing awakening experiences in the last year and a half, 2 years, that I was like, oh, that's what it is. Okay. And my life has changed. And Divine Flow Expo is one of the things that was birthed out of that.
I love your passion so much
Mm,
because I've been in this for a little over 16 years. And I have to say, my passion for certain parts of this journey have burnt out. Like
yes.
the
Yes.
technology piece, the website piece, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But you bring such an energy and passion for this that you've gotten me excited again. And so I just really want to appreciate that about you. And it is a testament to the fact that the divine really is flowing through you. And I want to ask you, you kind of answered this already, but I want to ask really directly, what do you consider the divine flow? What is it? What does divine flow mean? How do we use it? How do we let it flow through us? I know that's a lot of questions all at once, so take what you want and run with it.
Divine flow is being happy. To put it simply, in a nutshell, when you're happy, when you're filled with joy, when you're doing what just makes your hair blow back, you're in divine flow. And it can be anything. And it doesn't have to be what you do for a job. It doesn't have to be, where you go to get your groceries. What it is it's an inner state. And when we're living our lives in alignment with what makes us joyful, then we are going to be in that divine flow. And so that means you can maybe go to that job that you don't like so much, but when you're in the divine flow, you have that joy. You also feel that higher purpose, that maybe you're in that job you don't like so much, but you're there to help other people. You're there to shine your light and joy on those that haven't found it yet. There's a lot of little moving parts in all of that, but finding where you're joyful is that center point of everything, because that's what God is creator, the universe, universal mind, source, the all that is what it is. That joyful state. It brings the bliss. It brings the love. It brings the money. It brings the health. It brings it all to you. But it's finding that inside. And I actually, in one of my little awakening experiences in the last year and a half, was downloaded with this whole process on how to find that. And so those are courses that I'm going to be offering. I'm building them right now, like Awaken Your Divine Flow.
Beautiful.
And being able to get in there. And we all have it. It's just been covered up with expectation, programming, nonsense,
Obligation.
obligation. Yep. And the model that we have for humanity right now, which is, grow up, go to school, maybe go to college, get married, have babies, work, and die. And that isn't what it's about.
That's not at
And
all.
it's time for us to move out of that model and move into the model of joyfulness that we are divinely programmed with. Our original programming is joy and harmony and peace and love and flow.
So I want to pick that apart a little bit, if I may.
Do it.
Because you're saying divine flow is when you're in that joyful state. And I can tell you from my personal experience that divine flow also occurs for me when I'm in a highly emotional state that's not joyful. For example,
can be, yes.
These past 2 weeks for me have been incredibly emotionally challenging. And so what I've done with that is, instead of, wallowing in the, oh, poor me, I'm feeling all these emotions, I've dug deeper, and what do I need to do to heal what I'm experiencing right now?
Right.
And so even though it's felt incredibly painful at times, underneath that pain was a joy, because I was connecting to more of God, source, divine, whatever you want to call it, in my intentional healing process. Exactly. And so it was incredibly difficult to experience, but I wouldn't call it bliss, but there was an underlying joy. And I don't even know if I'd call it joy, but there was something there that carried me through and is carrying me through that I can only describe as divine flow. For sure, that's divine flow, because source, God, divine is with me. And I've had these experiences in my life where I'm going through something incredibly difficult and challenging, but I'm confronting it, I'm taking it head on, and I'm healing myself. And people will tell me during those times when I'm just like bawling my eyes out, they will say to me, wow, Susie, you look really good. And I'm always like, what? I look like crap. I've been crying for 24 hours. But what they're seeing in me is this new light that has come into me as I release the old crap.
Yep. It's that authenticity. You've been doing work for a very, very long time. And that is part of when we are able to connect with joy, especially for so many people that have not been in that, which is the majority of people. That is the first step. When you find that joy and you really connect into that and you start working in your life, you then begin to have the things that are not joy come up and be presented to you in order to process like you, right? And that is part of that divine flow process. Absolutely. But there's an inner knowing, a deep inner knowing, which is where we are connected to our divine, because the divine really isn't something out there that we need to get. It's all in here. And so what I feel you're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's that deep knowing deep inside that is that divine flow that allows you to be able to say, ow, here comes the painful ones, but that underneath part that's like, yeah, and we can handle this. This is okay. I am connected. This is part of the plan, part of the divine flow, part of that peace and joy, or getting back into alignment with that to get rid of the debris from all that other stuff we were talking about, because we do have to process through that. And that is part of the whole divine flow experience. And that's why I had people talk about their journeys, because it's like a lot of times it's like being a rock star, right? It's like, Shazam, they're on the stage and they're famous and rich and famous. Nobody sees the journey walking up to it, right? And a lot of people see, um, people that are successful, people that are glowing, people that are in their space, they don't know the journey there and the journey through. Once you kind of click in there, like you have so beautifully, Susie, then up comes all the monsters. Hello, I'm your ego. Let's play, right? And it's so powerful to step into that, because that's where a lot of people get off the path, is because they don't want to address that. And I've done it. It's like, no, I'm a spiritual teacher. I don't know. I don't have to deal with this guy. I've got that handled. And it rumbles and it rumbles and it creates trouble. And right. And it's just a disconnected part of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we have to address all that as well. And it's all beautiful, especially when you have that connection to the divine. No matter how painful it is, it's like our foundation. It's like
100%.
our rock, right?
Yes.
A
Yeah.
lot of times I speak, when I do meditations with people, one of the first things I do, especially in coursework, is we move into the heart and we actually create a temple in our heart where that divine connection is. I have everybody build an altar. We got a little place to sit and meditate. We create a temple, and it becomes the foundation to be able to safely, consciously deal with the debris, deal with the things that come up,
Yeah.
but also a place you can flow back into and feel kind of that joy, like, oh, this is getting hairy, this is getting hairy. Let's take a breath, drop back into the heart, find that peace, and then move forward again.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. I think it's helpful to give some examples of divine flow because,
Yeah.
like you said, when we aren't connected, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And so for me, and I talk about this is part of my presentation, Living a Soul Aligned Life. For me, being in the divine flow is listening to my soul
Mhm.
and listening to that voice instead of my mind or my ego voice. And I listen to all my voices and I integrate them all, but the voice of my soul is the loudest now because I've
Mhm.
cultivated that relationship with it. And that for me, I can't describe to you it is my center.
Mhm.
It is my foundation. And really, for the most part, nothing else matters. Like I can have stuff and I can, do things, but if I don't feel aligned to my soul and my mission, then I'm not fulfilled.
Yep. Exactly.
So my whole thing is I'm going to cultivate my relationship with my soul so that I can be of the highest service possible.
Yes.
And also as a human, I want that fulfillment. I want to feel fulfilled in my human life.
Right.
And and maybe that's my ego, but who cares?
No, not
Because
at all.
that for me, when I'm fulfilled doing the service that I came here to do, that's it. Like what else is there in life?
Right.
That is the biggest driver for me.
Absolutely. Well,
So
and
that's
so many of us have this really deep and important purpose. I would say everyone does. We come from kind of the spiritual aspect, so we kind of talk from that. But I speak to everybody. We do, but what happens is we drop into this plane of existence where there are so many belief systems, programmings, and distractions. It's so easy, to be 4 or 5 years old. And even then, I knew I had a great purpose in this world at the end times. What did I know about that at 6 years old?
Amazing.
But I was also born into the Mormon Church, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We are trained what to do when this shift of ages begins to happen.
Oh,
Who
I didn't
knew?
realize they taught you that.
Well, they do. It's not how they put it. It's not how they verbalize it, but
Okay.
it's what's going on. They
Okay.
prepare you for the end times. Even the Christian religions talk about the return of the Christ, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they have their scenario that they think, but it is an awakening. It is a massive shift within humanity. It's a massive evolution. And I think a lot of times the religions kind of have a mini thing of it. I think a lot of us that are here, and Susie, I totally include you, and probably every one of our presenters, is we know there's something big, and we know we're here for that big.
Yes.
And a lot of us are going, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm following my soul. I'm following my divine connection, my divine flow, and we're moving in the flow.
Yes.
It's funny because being connected to the divine does not mean you know what you're doing. None of us really know what we're doing, but we're in that flow and we're moving in that spirit. And that's what shines out. That's what people see. And that's what's shifting. That is what is evolving humanity in these positive ways. Is the more and more we connect into that. Doesn't mean it's always woohoo. It doesn't mean it's always a party, but there's always that underlying foundation of safety, of calm, of peace, of bliss, of joy for us to navigate through all of this. And it can get painful, but
Yeah.
it's interesting because sometimes when you're in that space, to really describe where that divine place is, there are no words. And I love that you said that. You're like, I don't have words. And it is. And that's sometimes how you know you're there.
Yeah. Well, I feel it sometimes in my body.
Mhm.
I feel it in my heart. I can feel it when I look into my eyes.
Yes.
After I've been crying for a while, I look in the mirror, I look into my eyes, I can see the divine flow there.
Mm, mm.
I feel it in my solar plexus. I feel it in my root. As I've been opening up my flows, literally
Yes.
opening up my meridians and my flows,
Yep.
there's
Yep.
more and more divinity flowing through there. So
Absolutely.
I do feel it palpably at a physical level within my body, and then of course emotionally as well.
Right. Well, the physical body, a lot of people, again, they want to kind of, I'm spiritual, so I don't need the physical body. The physical body is the energetic container for all of this.
Yeah.
And so we do. That's another part of this is you will feel it in your body. People that have gotten very, very sick, and I'm one of them, working on, I got very, very sick, and I am even right now have injury to my back and my hips from that being so misaligned that
Yeah.
I'm still healing.
Yeah.
And the physical body a lot of times does take the brunt of it. Illness, disease, disaster, all that kind of stuff is part of being out of that flow and being disconnected.
Yeah.
And that's, I believe, how we one of the paths, one of the journeys to really heal people physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, multidimensionally, is to find that joy, get back into that space, click into that again, and begin to do what your divine flow flows you to do, right? Whether it's in your job, in your work, in your life, in your family, in your relationships, also in your physical body. The body will start speaking when you tap back in too. It'll be like, ow, this hurts, pay attention, heal me.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Can you give us, for someone who feels like they're not connected to their divine flow, or maybe doesn't even understand what that might mean for them, can you give a starting point? How can someone click into their joy or click into their divine flow? We say these words. Just click in, it's
Let's just
easy.
do it. Well, and that's why I have courses, to help people do that. Because really the starting point is start being mindful of how you feel. How do you feel? Do you feel happy? Do you feel scared? Do you feel driven? Do you feel joyful? You know, do you feel loved? Do you feel successful? Do you feel fulfilled? Being mindful of how you feel, because the feeling body is the most powerful body of all of our bodies that we deal with. That feeling, that emotional body is a Shazam. And it's a lot of times the one Shazam. And it will take us off course. It will bring us back on course, but it's being mindful. So that is the mind being mindful of how the body is speaking, right? And so starting there, that's a lot of times where I start with my students and my clients is, how do you feel? And I will actually have them get a journal and take a week and write down, um you know, throughout the day. So it, you know, it depends on the personality, but a lot of people I like to, because I'm a Virgo, so I love regulation. It's like every 2 hours, set a timer on your phone, and every 2 hours click and be like, how do I feel? Where am I at? Okay, today I'm at work, I'm feeling frustrated. How does feeling frustrated make you feel? So then we're taking it a layer, right? We're going another layer down. How does that make you feel? How does that feeling make you feel? And it's interesting because we will have a sandwich of feelings and emotions going on at any given moment.
Yeah.
And it really is starting to be mindful and feeling the body. I'm an empath, and so feeling is a really powerful tool that I have to help my clients too. And I didn't even realize I was an empath until like 5 years ago. I was like, oh, that's what that is. But we're all empathic to some degree. And so with the way I work, it really is. And sometimes we even have to begin with doing some work with getting the mind kind of cleared too. Because a lot of times that ego, who, you know, we gotta love the ego because the ego is there to keep you safe. But if ego has been in charge for too long, had too much power, and maybe eats too much sugar, it can get a little
Don't feed
crazy.
your ego sugar.
Don't feed your ego sugar. And sometimes we have to integrate the ego. Sometimes we need to calm the ego down, let the ego know, hey, we're not getting rid of you. We're all good. We're all working together. We're all part of the one whole.
Thank
You
you.
know, you are sacred and divine, ego. I always do the like little puppet. My granddaughter and I do this all the time. But the little ego, it's like, no, 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 no. We love you. We love you. We need you. You know, you keep us from jumping out in front of a moving bus. We
Yeah.
need you, ego. You keep the heart pumping at night while we're sleeping. We need you.
I'm glad you're saying this. I can't
Making
handle the
friends.
spiritual teachings that tell us to kill the ego.
Please don't kill
No,
ego.
it's inherent as our
No.
humanity. We need the ego.
We need all parts of us. We need the good, the bad, the ugly, and the whatever. We need it all. And that integration is an important part too. And that's part of what, you know, when we come into this plane existence and we start getting programmed, we're kind of torn apart. And it really starts just in how we care for ourselves, just at the human plane. Even we have doctors take care of the body, psychiatrists take care of the mind, you know, the church takes care of the soul. And so we're already torn apart a little bit just in how we have to deal with the world.
Yeah, we go to different places to get different parts of us addressed. And it's like, oh, it's all here.
Yeah, we're all gorgeous right here, baby. And that's part of what I feel this whole spirituality thing is about, is bringing us all back together, getting it back together and getting into the center of this and reconnecting.
Beautiful. So tell us a little bit about the Divine Expo, what it looks like, where people can go to register. What is the flow going to be like? Because you have 20 speakers, you said. So
We have 16, we have 20 speakers,
okay.
we have 16 videos.
Okay.
And I have got lists upon lists. We are just getting, I just got the last of the videos in, so I actually can see what everybody's doing, and processing all that and getting it up on the site. It is being held on a site called Hey Summit. You can go there to kind of see a little bit more about our speakers and stuff at divineflowexpo.hey summit, Hey summit, SUMMIT.com. And so what it is, let me, this is so cool. I'm gonna go to my notes now. we have got so fun. We've got Susie B. She's my Susie B now. We got Susie Byler, who is doing, what she does so well. And it's just about connecting to the soul and being soul centered and heart centered. And so, Susie, your work is so, God, there's not even words. It's so authentic. It's so divinely centered, and it's so intelligent. And that's part of the reason why I just love you, because there's a lot of people that talk about, all this stuff, and it's beautiful, it's amazing, and I love it. But sometimes they don't come across grounded and intelligent, and you do. And I just love it. And that was one of the things where it was like, that's Susie, that's someday, somewhere, you and I are going to be doing something, and maybe it's Divine Flow Expo, maybe there's something else, because you got it, girl. You got it. You ground that beauty and that passion and that divine flow right into you and right into the earth. And it's powerful stuff.
Oh, you're going to make me cry again.
Good. I tell my students and clients that if you haven't cried, I am not done with you.
That's right.
Because that's the opening, right? That's that part. That's where we all need to get to where we can cry. Crying is beautiful.
Oh,
Crying is beautiful.
Agree 100%.
And it's so needed in our world. We're all told big boys, big girls don't cry. Yeah, we do. And we need to.
Yeah.
So we got the amazing Susie B. We are going to have the couple that's going to be starting. Oh my God, their videos are amazing. Is Dirk and Rhiannon, and I'm not even going to try to say their last name. And they're doing the power of sacred space. And so what they are doing is they're going to be opening, and they're talking about divine flow. They're really good about creating like a beautiful altar and all that kind of stuff. And Dirk is a didgeridoo player. And so he actually downloaded a whole new instrument, which is called oh my God, I wish I don't have it written down. A didjad, which is a stringed instrument with the didgeridoo. And so we've got Rhiannon and Dirk talking about divine flow and how it's in their life. And then Dirk playing that. Well, I don't know how he films these things, but they're really trippy and kind of like a fisheye lens and then moving around. Oh, so we're opening up with like kapow brain expansion.
I can't wait to see that. I play didgeridoo, right?
No, that's awesome. Okay, you and Dirk got to talk.
Yeah, so to see an instrument to see a didge combined with something else, my mind is being blown right now. I must see that.
It's like a bass, a cello, a bass.
So cool.
It's so cool. And then there's another part that they're doing where Dirk is just walking his dog, Willow, remunerating over what is divine flow, but he's filming it with that trippy fisheye thing again, and it's just like, whoa. So our trippy people will love that. Yeah, it's really good. He's really good at the didge. He's been doing it. And I had met Rhiannon and Dirk when they owned a metaphysical store in Huntington Beach here in Southern California. And that was at the beginning of my awakening. And I would just go there and just hang out because I didn't have anywhere else to connect in. Yeah. And a lot of times I go back where all the books were and just cry. Oh, okay, I'm fine. I'm good. And they were so loving and so sweet. Excuse me. So they become family.
Nice.
And so they were like, they got to be in the divine flow because they is flowing. They are flowing. And then we have Lelaine, who's talking about heart coherence. We're having Judan, who's a shamaness, very much into working with earth. We've got Zane, who works with the Hathors and does Hathor healing, who's wonderful. We've got Andrew and Julia, who are UFO researchers. Cool. And have done a ton of research on the area around Area 51.
Very cool.
And so they're having some slides in. So they're coming in like researchers for engineer kind of stuff.
Oh, that'll be fun. Wow.
And so we're going from woohoo, into very much researchery. Here's the slides, here's the thing. So we're, it's not all foofy, it's like here, this is how we do it, kind of like sitting in science class, but
Very
it's
cool.
such awesome material. I'm like, you guys got to be in. And then I'm going to be talking about awakening to your divine flow. We've got Anara, who is the New Earth Visionary, who has a new book out, who's really helping all of us move forward into collectively envisioning this new Earth. And then we got Lemmy and Joshua, they're calling it the Mystical Fireside Chat.
Nice.
And they are going to be working with, they are yoga people, Nam yoga, but they're also sound healers and musicians, and they do mudra, and they do these beautiful, beautiful teachings. They have their own aromatherapy essential oil line. And so they're just bringing it all and just making it yummy. And that is our first day. Second day, we start out with Susie B. Yay! Living a soul aligned life. I couldn't think of anybody better to start this thing out. We have Laura Carrillo, the feng shui ladies. We got feng shui. We have Sally Shakti, who is doing a divine alignment activation, and she's a writer, and she's got her business is called Writing Thriving. So it's talking about thriving through writing, which is really cool. And she's done a lot of our copy for our advertising for the Divine Flow Expo too. So she's super fun, super sweet. We've got Ava Malazzi on, who is a private chef, and she's talking about staying inspired in the kitchen and how the divine flow flows through her in preparing food and foods to choose and what we put in our body. And so she talks about that. It's really cool. We've got Lillian and Angelo, who are an author and an artist who wrote a book called Thiep and Thorpe, and it's about teenage aliens. And it's really cool. So we're bringing in the aliens. Yay! Aliens represent.
Teenage aliens.
Teenage. It's such a good book. It's such a good book. It's awesome.
Okay.
And we have Tucci, who's going to be talking about the breath of life.
Nice.
And we have Tara Taylor Knudsen, who's a very dear friend of mine. She's an actress, a musician, a playwright, a creator, and she's going to talk about how the divine flow flows through her in acting and music and all of that kind of stuff. Because that was part of my initial thought, was I was going to have musicians and artists and that kind of thing. Well, I got a pushback from the musician community, because they do not like to be asked to play at your bar for exposure. That's not how they work. They're like, well, if you got a budget for me, I'll be there. But I grew up in the music industry.
Fair enough.
Should have expected that. I'm like, that's cool.
Fair enough.
But the healers, the sound healers showed up. And so I'm like, that's who's supposed to be there. So Tara's going to be talking about how that creative flow flows through her in those fields, and in the music, and in the creating, and the writing, and the acting, everything. And then we're going to end up with David Kennett, who is a sound healer, and he's got this trippy instrument called a euphone that looks like blocks of steel with these bars hanging out, and he starts to rub on the little bars, and it starts making this otherworldly sound. And then he's got other he's got crystal bowls, he's got other things he uses, and then he uses his voice, and it is
this sounds so amazing.
Isn't it cool? I wanted an eclectic group of people. That was the whole thing. I didn't want to do another one of these all healer events or all intuitive events or all spiritual thing, even though all these people are incredibly spiritual. But it was really about getting people to realize that this divine flow is not just a spiritual thing. It's everybody. Everybody's using it. And to be inspired to start thinking about, am I living my life in divine flow? Am I doing that? And I know right now, because we're recovering from the pandemic, the big P word, we all have kind of come out of a cocoon. We've all had time to stop the patterns that we have created for our lives, and it's time for new patterns. People are searching for new patterns, and I'm hoping that part of that patterning is realizing that you can live in your passion and in your joy, and you can be there, and you can have that be the foundation and the icing on the cake of your life. And oftentimes when we step out of the programming into the divine flow, those things that we struggle with begin to fall away. I know a big struggle that most people have is money, and they have to do the job. I mean, I have clients come to me that they are devastated almost to the point of wanting to take their lives because they lost a job. And they don't realize there's choices. There's other ways of doing things. And it's we get so programmed into that. But I have to have the insurance. You can buy insurance when you're making 3 times as much money as an entrepreneur. You know? And it's like, what? Yes. How do I do that? Let's lay it out. And it's amazing. And I think people are ready for this awakening. I think entrepreneurship, independent contracting, all that is the way of the future, even though I think what's happening is a pushback on that. But I think eventually that's going to be the way of the future. We are going to be independently working collectively. And that actually just
collaborating,
came through, independently working collectively. I think with the freedom of time, with the ability to be and do what you love to do, I think we're going to find an awakened world where that joy and passion and love and fun and freedom is just a part of it all.
So beautiful. I am with you in that vision, sister. So let's tell people one more time where to go to register for the summit. And by the way, the summit is on April, make sure I get this
23rd
and 24th.
And 24th. Yep. And so it's coming up. It's only about 2 weeks from now. And you can register at Divine Flow Expo. And just how it is, you can see it right there, Divine Flow Expo. Ooh, I love that graphic too. This is what it is. Just look at that and you'll love it. Divine Flow Expo dot Hey Summit, HEYSUMMIT.com.
And I will put my link underneath in the comments. So
wonderful. Yeah. Put your link in there. And we have had a lot of people register already.
Great.
So it's already proving to be very exciting. And I just want to thank all the presenters for all of the hard work. You guys have busted your butts and created these beautiful videos. And it's really fun. And what's really cool too is with this is I didn't want everybody to worry about having to have like film quality videos. I'm like, you do you. You do you. How it comes across, it's coming from your heart. That's what I want to see. And so it's really cool because we do have different kinds of videos. They're not all like really structured the same way. I'm like, we're doing divine flow. You guys do it. And so it's really cool. It's going to see how it's going to all flow together in this eclectic group. But you guys have all worked so hard. And my intention is to get you seen by people who need you, and to bless not only you for being able to work your magic in the world in a bigger way, but also all those people that you are going to be able to touch and to heal. And I just see this as like a big love bubble. And when we open up on Friday, April 23rd, this bubble just bursts and love and just the ripples all around the world.
Love it. Thank you so much for your passion and your motivation, Michele. Really appreciate you. Thank you for showing up today with me live.
Thank you.
Watching who are not on my Susie Byler profile on Facebook, and you want that link, come back to my profile, facebook.com/Susie Byler, and click that link that I'll be putting in the comments down there so that you can go register, because you want to see all this amazing content that our beautiful presenters are sharing. It sounds like it's got a lot of depth, a lot of breadth, a lot of passion, and a lot of divine flow. Love you guys. Thank you.
Divine flow.